Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 9th November 2020. The first article is the real significance of the Biden win. Here we need to trace India-US relations, how they evolved over a period of time. Before Cold War era, India is more seen as part of Soviet bloc, you know that. When Indira Gandhi signed Peace Friendship Treaty with USSR, it is almost confirmed that India has left leanings. India also has socialistic goals. Next, during Clinton era, the first steps are laid for cooperation. Mr. Jaswant Singh played an important role over here. Initially, sanctions were imposed over India, and Jaswant Singh and Talbot talks have made these sanctions go away. Bush era is remarkable for US-India Civil Nuclear Cooperation Agreement. Bush has supported India every way to get the nuclear waiver from NSG to get this cooperation agreement move on. Third most important is during Obama era. Many of the relations got concretized, strengthened during Manmohan Singh Obama era. What happened? He has supported India to join East Asia Summit and nuclear control groups like Wassenaar Agreement, Australian Group, Nuclear Suppliers Group. So America started supporting. Either India is able to join it or not, another question. Second, UN Security Council reform and permanent membership to India, America has endorsed that. Above all, the nuclear cooperation agreement has come into implementation during this particular era. Finally, observe one thing. Whenever the real significance we need to talk about, Obama era made the foundations for it. Later, when we see the Trump era, rather than improving the existing situation, with every country the relations of US got worsened. So, India is not an exception. But however, Trump has ignored India's decision vis-a-vis Kashmir, that is, removal of Article 370, etc. And he did not give any importance to the US Commission on Religious Freedoms report. So that way, Trump was more helpful to India by being silent. Second thing is, he has a strong policy on China. See, across all these presidents, every president was guided by ultimately the national interest of United States of America. So Biden, when we see, he is more a vice president of Obama. So obviously he likes to take forward the policies which have started during Obama. So Biden has explicitly endorsed pluralistic values of India. So today, America, will it support India on various issues is the question over here. Mr. Biden may support India and its position on various matters like trade, climate change or foreign policy matters, etc., but not on conservative elements happening over here. And second, countries need foundation of values. So India, USA can be the natural partners because they are great democracies. So these foundational values of the people in power, if they come together, obviously that will add value to the foreign policy or diplomacy. So Biden election and Biden, who has liberal values, can also add to the strengthening of Indian democracy because he can push for the democratic values in Indian system. That's how this article is arguing for. Next, under Biden, unfurling India's foreign policy concerns. So what are the two concerns discussed in this article? One is China and the other is India. So India got explicit support from United States of America, and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo went overhead and stated that the Quad has to be an association, military association against China. He has explicitly criticized China on its boundary aggression. Today, Biden, will he continue the Trump's policy? Probably yes. But there can be, all said, a softening tone can be heard. So China-India relations, even we do not want to have a war or continuous confrontation with China. It is going to bleed us financially and also other resource wise. Second, coming to Iran, you know, Iran nuclear deal was been done away with by the Trump. It was the Obama's greatest diplomatic success. So Mr. Biden may ease the sanctions on Iran. He may not completely come back on the steps of the Trump, but however, the sanctions can be eased on Iran. So climate change, etc., he may re-enter. Already he has stated that. So with regard to China, he also temper down or else tone down the rhetoric which the Trump had. So these can be expected. Next is no fireworks. National Green Tribunal linked firecracker sales to air quality. If air quality is poor, no firecrackers for Diwali. It is moderate, green firecrackers are allowed, and they are also allowed only for 2 hours. Here, there is a conflict between economic needs of certain workers and the environmental needs of big cities in India. So, economic needs of the firecracker workers from Shivakasi may lose an opportunity or livelihood. So, what need to be done? They have to be rehabilitated. So, we have to devise a compensation scheme, a transparent compensation scheme for these workers. That is what is suggested here. The cost of clearing the air. This is about National Clean Air Program. What it states is, we have to reduce air pollution, particulate matter air pollution, especially by 20 to 30% by 2024 over 2017. In such a scenario, understand, do we have sufficient data to analyze the quality of air across the cities? So, ambient air quality monitors which work automatically are essential. Only in Delhi, after lot of hitting by the court, some 37 monitors are being established. In most of the cities, they do not have. It means that having the data or monitoring reports of air quality are essential to spend this money wisely, the 4,400 crores which is allocated. Lessons from Vietnam and Bangladesh. Today, who is the second largest textile exporter in the world? It is Bangladesh. And coming to Vietnam over the last 8 years, its exports grew by 240%. Then what are the lessons India can take from them? The most important thing is improve legal framework in such a way that predictability has to exist. Coming to Vietnam, the open trade agreements, free trade agreements have raised the business, trade. Coming to Bangladesh, they have especially focused on large companies so that they can see a quick result and they also can compete with the companies across the world. So, make your product competitive, and they worked on the economy of scales. So, comparison here, if we have to learn from Bangladesh, India also need to focus on developing the larger firms in textiles. But there is one caution over here. In Vietnam, export to GDP percentage is 107%. It means it is dependent on exports for its economic growth. It is vulnerable. If any crisis comes in economy or crisis comes anywhere, obviously Vietnam is going to get worst affected. And other way around, if Vietnam is hit by one or the other natural disaster, the supply chains gets worst affected. Other part, remember, India shall not risk its economy by depending excessively on exports. So, an organic economic growth is required for India. Next is Finance Panel submits report to President. 15th Finance Commission headed by N.K. Singh. It was given certain terms of reference. These are very important because for the first time Center has asked certain new things to the Finance Commission. One among that is, do we need to create a non-lapsable fund for security and other forces? And it also asked the Finance Commission to review the welfare programs of the states. It has become a bit a disputed issue between the center and the states. And once it is submitted to the President, it will go to Parliament and then it will be put in public domain. Then we can discuss in detail about this report. Next is COVID-19 vaccine could be 90% effective, claims Pfizer. You know, COVID-19 vaccine which we are all waiting. So, Pfizer has announced that 90% effective. So, Mr. Antonio Fauci, what he stated is, if any vaccine 60% effective, it is very good. So, as they are claiming 90%, it means most of the people have developed antibodies once this vaccine is given. That's a good news for all of us. Next, India Maldives sign 4 MoUs to boost ties. In this, we need to understand few points. India is supporting Greater Malay Connectivity Project and it is giving a grant of $500 million. In this, $100 million of a part of it is released. And second thing is, Maldives is pursuing India first policy. Before, when Gayoom was, not Gayoom, before president, he was close to China. Now, Nasheed is the speaker. There is internal conflict in the Maldivian Democratic Party. Next is Abdul Amin was the previous president. He was close ally of China. And third most important point is Shahid is the foreign minister of Maldives now. And he is been recommended by India, supported by India for president position of UN General Assembly. And India also has created air bubble to carry the that is tourists to Maldives. You know, tourists are the major source of income for Maldives. So that way India-Maldives relations are getting strengthened. Next, academic credit banks degree with entry and exit options soon. First time India is bringing in national agricultural education policy. In this academic credit banks, it means you join certain course, you get the credits once you complete that 3 months course or something. They will be in reserve. After you getting certain credits in your bank, you can apply to another course. So in that way, rather than making it just degree centric, it is more modular and credit centric. That is how India is trying to build its agricultural education. And here there is one program which has been mentioned which you need to focus, that is RUDI. It is Rural Entrepreneurship Awareness Development Program. It is to develop rural entrepreneurs from the students who are educated in these agricultural universities. For that, an internship program is being launched. So remember this RUDI, Rural Entrepreneurship Awareness Development Program. So these are the articles for today. This is Dr. Rambabu. Thank you very much.